It is 1300 hours on Friday, March 28th, 2025. This is Asheville, North Carolina, and you are witnessing the hottest, freshest episode of the Grizzlies Folly Sunday Antisocial Hour. That time each week when I smoke... I don't have a pipe. I gotta go get a pipe. This is the time each week when I smoke my pipe and complain about humanity while answering all of its questions. And if you are a piece of humanity with a question for me, leave it in the comments down below with the hashtag AskGribs. Remember, I'll answer any question, by the way. Any question you can possibly imagine. Remember last time when the whole point of my video was, if there is a flood, do not drive through floodwaters? Okay, I have a new point. If there is a burn ban, do not burn things. Thank you to everyone who has reached out to inquire about my safety. We are fine. We are still fine. It's now 13:18, March 28th. We're still fine. The situation changes by the hour, but basically, the little mountain town that we lived in is now surrounded by a ring of fire. We are in no immediate danger. The fire that was closest to us, and it was pretty close to us, is out. I don't know if it's out. It's contained. It's under control. Everything is fine. I've noticed that the weather folks are starting to talk about fires forming. There are new fires forming all the time, like they're storms or something. And I know that it's possible for a fire to be caused by natural things like volcanoes. There were no volcanoes or lightning strikes. These fires were started by morons. Don't be one. Don't be a moron. That's all I ask. Now is not the time to grill brats on your porch. Now is not the time to smoke your pipe outside. Do not throw your cigarette butt out the window. We always have wildfires in the summer, but we didn't always just survive a hurricane that knocked down 40% of our trees. And so the woods are basically a giant tinderbox. And our actual fire season won't start until the fall. So while we are in no immediate danger, we are following protocol, and the local fire departments have said, keep a bag packed. And I want to talk about some things here in a minute, but I do want to respond. We're going to jump right in to your questions. John Galdieri, thank you specifically for your comment on my post. And Blake, I have not yet deployed the tactical Pop-Tarts. It hasn't gotten that bad yet. JD Notarayano says, I always soak a new pipe in a 50-50 mixture of bleach and gasoline for 8 weeks with no drying time before smoking. That definitely gets a heart from me, sir. Housekeeping, today I am smoking my Stanwell Second pot shape, which is one of my absolute favorite pipes. The only thing I don't like about this pipe is the vulcanite stem, which really needs some restoration, but I don't want to send it off yet to get restored. And then they got this white, I assume that's a plastic ring there. I don't know how they deal with that. And in this pipe, of course, I'm smoking Beck's Old Limey Bastard, available at B&B Tobacconists here in Asheville, North Carolina, until they burn down. I have just finished principal photography for my Helene prepping takeaways video. I know everyone is waiting with bated breath for me to release this video. It is done. And the reason that it is done is the day before yesterday, I was standing in my yard watching the helicopters fly over to deal with the fires. And I was transported back to Helene, to the dark days during the storm, after the storm, when we watched the helicopters fly over to deal with other things. And I thought, I should really go ahead and make that video. And yesterday was the 6-month anniversary. So it's a nice, tidy little piece of math there, I guess. I don't know how I feel about any of that, but the video will be coming out soon. I just have to edit the 3 hours of footage I just shot. All right, got distracted. Back to your comments. Every now and then I get comments, actually pretty often I get comments on my fly tying video. Sometimes they're people saying things that don't make a lot of sense. And then sometimes they're people like Alex ACR 3167 saying, I wish you would share this before I invested about $10,000 in fly tying. Yes, the video is called Dirt Cheap Fly Tying. You can find it on my channel. Maybe I'll put a link if I remember. I won't remember. In a similar vein, my video on Elizabethan mixture being a chemical weapon, that was a reboot of the old video telling the same story. And I recently watched the reboot, and I'm like, this still isn't good. I still want to make a better video about this, but we'll give it another 5 years or whatever. Bad News Bruner says, great story, dropping a sub just based on your storytelling. Thank you. I appreciate that. Definitely should have barfed when you felt the need. let's talk. I have a phobia of throwing up. Emetophobia, I don't know how you say the puke phobia. I know that there are people that encourage themselves to throw up when they need to. And I get that it's a bodily process, right? Like any other process where fluids need to leave your body. You don't want to stop that up. And I don't like physically try not to throw up. I'm not like, like clenching my throat or something. I don't know how you would, it's involuntary. I don't know how you would actually stop it. But man, emotionally, mentally, I can't handle it. And I think that if I could handle it, if I went to enough therapy for this, I would be a better pipe smoker, because there would be blends that I could try that I'm afraid to try now because of their nicotine content. But I don't want my goal in life to be a better pipe smoker. There's a lot of better things I should be before I work on that. Grant Reynard asks Gribbs, kids are the ultimate immune system builder. Or immune system breaker downer, depending on whether or not you die from it, I guess. Ask Gribbs, would you rather change diapers at a kindergarten for a day or wipe snotty noses for an hour at grade school? The answer to this goes back to what I just said, which is I would 10 times rather get a cold or a flu or COVID or RSV or Ebola than get a gastrointestinal virus. So I'm going to go with the wiping snotty noses. Rafa, I'm still thinking about the guitar video. I just haven't gotten to it. Says, hope you're better soon. Thank you. I am. The cough it did take a long time. The cough took a long time to go away. Ask Gribbs, update on the recommended tobacco for when the farmer finds you hiding in his chicken coop the morning after the day it was capital T time to go. So this is an old thought experiment that Rafa and I have shared. And the idea is, the shit has hit the fan and you're a super badass survivalist prepper but for whatever reason you've had to bug out. You've left your bunker because bugging out is the fantasy of the prepper community. As someone whose house might be burning down in the next 24 hours, I guess it's legit. Everyone says bugging out is a Hollywood fantasy until you actually need to bug out, and then it gets real pretty quick. Can I just take a moment to speak authoritatively on disasters? Are we really doing this again? We're doing this again. During Helene, we definitely bugged in. There was no bugging out because you couldn't go anywhere. All the interstates, all the main roads were washed out. We were an island, literally an island. So in that situation, it was really easy to be like, yeah, bugging out is a fantasy. But now when, I look outside my house and there's this giant column of smoke rising between us and the next ridge, bugging out seems pretty realistic. And I have had to bug out because of a fire in the past. If you remember that story, a gas main exploded 100 yards from the house. And yeah, I left really fast. That was the day I decided, always park your car facing out. Always, you're not stressed now. You might be stressed when you have to leave. Park facing out. But to answer Rafa's question, so the idea is you've had to bug out and you're huddled in some farmer's chicken coop with your beanie weenies and your AR-15. What tobacco do you want to be smoking when he finds you? Or do we choose a tobacco where he's not going to find you? Like, is there a tobacco that smells like burning chickens? Where he would just be like, one of the chickens is on fire, whatever. Updated for 2025, I think the best bet. You're just going to have to hope that you find a rural farmer who isn't aligned with the current ethos. Know what I mean? That would be a rare thing. A rural farmer who might have sympathy for someone hiding from something. I mean, I'm just being alarmist, right? It's not like people are being picked up on the streets after being targeted by a blizzard, by a wintry mix, by frozen precipitation. What would be a good word for that? Anyway, so you're hiding in the chicken coop to escape the sleet, and the farmer finds you. You have to hope that the farmer is sympathetic, but also has good taste in tobacco. Here again, I'm thinking Boswell's Northwoods. Nobody doesn't like Northwoods. If I were a farmer and I'm walking out to my chicken coop with my double barrel shotgun and my straw hat and my overalls, and I smell Penzance in that chicken coop, I might not turn you in to sleet to rain, to frozen, to wintry mix. I might not turn you in, but I'm going to be like, could I not get a tobacco snob in my chicken coop? At the same time, if you're smoking 1Q, I'm going to be like, could I not get a basic bitch hiding in my chicken coop? Don't unsubscribe. Don't know. It's just a joke. It's a joke. So here again, I think Northwoods is the answer. It's the perfect tobacco that no one can hate on. It's not too snobby. It's not too basic. Old Limey Bastard would be another, and especially around here, right? If you're from Asheville and you're a pipe smoker, you respect the Bastard. In other areas, I don't know. In, I don't know, border states where this is more likely, you know how much sleet and wintry mix they get in Arizona. But it's kind of all over, you know? I think there's a lot of chicken coops in Florida right now that are occupied. Whatever. You need something with broad appeal. Everybody knows Northwoods. Not everybody knows Old Limey Bastard. Other options: 1792 Flake, where the farmer he just won't want to mess with you because you're a badass. Or I could just go all in and I could smoke 1792 Flake, and just when he finds me, I'm just like making eye contact while I'm throwing up. That's the impression I want to make, actually. You know, this guy, the farmer opens up the door and he'll be looking at me and he'll be like, yeah, this guy's a nicotine lightweight, but I still don't want to mess with him. I just got an alert that my camera is overheating. I have been recording down here for literally hours. So we're going to have a change of venue. I don't have time to wait for it to cool down and keep recording. I got to get outside. We better go enjoy the woods while we still can, right? So the woods here mostly survived Helene. The woods on the other side of the mountain very much did not. And over the county as a whole, we lost 40% of our trees. So that's one reason these fires are so bad, is that it's been 6 months and all the trees that came down are now just dry kindling. Yesterday, smoke was so thick, couldn't see the next ridge over, and I was worried that another fire had popped up right close to us. It hadn't. There's air currents involved, and I don't really know how that works, but a lot of times the smoke from distant fires can like travel over and then sink down on us because we're kind of in a valley. And it gets really thick here. I keep a few trail cams out here, which you would know all about if you just followed me on Patreon. $3 a month. It's a low barrier to entry. Yeah, you could see all the wildlife that I capture. I mean, I don't really capture it. I'm not like keeping them in cages at my house. I take pictures of them. So I'm checking the trail cams, and the first order of business is to find them. Here we go. Yeah, I left this one over a hole. So this is what remains of the bothy, which I built, I think, in 2017, which means it's, what, 8 years old? And I keep thinking I should come out here and rebuild it. But you know, I don't really know if that's wise. A permanent structure is fun and it's charming. It's a good idea, especially when you build it out of sticks like a 10-year-old. But it lets people know that you've been here. You know, it's a sign that someone is in the woods. And you know, in its own weird little way, it's kind of development. You know, you forge trails, you wear tracks in the dirt. It might be better to have like a tarp, you know, when I want to come out here and be out here for a while, which is pretty rare. Usually I would just walk around, but I could just string up a tarp and sit under that. I don't need a pile of sticks to sit in. And right now it's a big damn fire hazard. It is so incredibly dry out here. I've been coming out and shooting a little bit, and I've actually been teaching the boy to shoot to some extent, which is quite a thing. He's not bad. He's not bad at it. I still have my Daisy Avanti 853, I think it is. It's the match grade youth air rifle. I bought it from Civilian Marksmanship Program, the CMP. And I don't know why they call it a youth rifle, because the length of pull is like way more than my youth. He's 10 years old, so he's still pretty small, but like it's way more than he can handle, and it's plenty enough for me. So I don't know if that makes me a wee little man or what. But the rifle is a laser. It's a 10-meter rifle, and I can put 5 shots in a dime from a rest at 10 meters. I'm not an expert or anything, But yeah, I've been coming out here and shooting, stretching out a little farther and shooting at 25 or even 30 meters. There's a lot of drop at 30 meters with a 10 meter gun. Anyway, back to business. Cascadian Piper says, hope you're feeling better. Sadly, I am still recovering from 1, being called a nerd, and 2, being called someone who feels like I'm a bad boy by drinking root beer and smoking Northwoods. Yes, you are for the streets, sir. You're a real ne'er-do-well. But I've watched your photography and journalism, and I know you are just a nerd of a different flavor. Come on now. Come on. I am basically... Clark Kent was a journalist. That said, I have tried developing a more grown-up palate for tobacco. I have tried plum pudding, and I like HH Old Dark Fired, but I am such a lightweight, I have to cut the Old Dark Fired with 1Q by at least 50%. Why don't you just slap the Queen of England, too? Yes, I know she's dead. That's how disrespectful you're being. I don't have to be a bad boy, but I'm wondering now if tasting designer root beer is really doing me any favors. I'm glad you have come to me with these questions. I want you to know that all young men go through them at a certain time in their lives. So, ask Gribbs, what might you recommend as a next step in tobacco tasting? He says, I know you're going to say Old Limey Bastard or something hard to get. That's exactly what I was going to say. To be fair, while Old Limey Bastard is the pinnacle of English tobaccos, it's not necessarily super unique. It's a strong English, and you could do just as well with something like London Squire, Stockaby's Proper English. But because I am an Old Limey Bastard evangelist, I am going to leave a comment on your comment and go check out that comment. If you really want an adventure, the tobacco to try is Pirate Cake. That's sort of the ultimate. There's nowhere to go from there. I mean, maybe save it till you're in the old folks' home. A step below Pirate Cake would be Westminster, GL Pieces Westminster. I think that is a tobacco that it's weird. I get that tobacco and I open the tin and I smoke the first bowl, and I'm like, this is the best tobacco I've ever had. Like, I'm never going to smoke any other tobacco. And then by the 4th or 5th bowl, I'm like, it's pretty good. And I don't know if it's just the novelty has worn off, but this has happened several times where the first bowl out of the tin is like a pipe smoking like Epiphany. Don't smoke Epiphany. I don't think that one's really good. Or you could go the other direction and look at something like Haunted Bookshop, which was, of course, Matches 860's favorite blend. And in fact, I'm surprised they haven't renamed it after him. Haunted Bookshop is... it's not my favorite. It's not my favorite, but I know that people that are really into Burleys and Virginias love Haunted Bookshop. Take that for what it's worth. Nightcap is okay if it's still a thing. I mean, here's the other thing: is that all my knowledge is dated at this point. I haven't gone down a tobacco deep dive since all the manufacturers closed down. Nightcap was pretty good. It's a lot tamer than its reputation, I think. And the other one that Les Brady sent me that is it's really something is GL Pieces Gaslight. That one's heavy enough that I can't smoke it as often as I would like. It has to be winter. It's so heavy. It's like eating a piece of chocolate chess pie without the calories and sweetness and tooth decay. It's pretty nice out here. It's hard to be angry. It's hard to be. I've been very angry. The local media is poor media is corrosive to communities, and we're certainly seeing that here. During Helene, when all the communications were down, you couldn't see how bad the media was. But they're doing a terrible job now with the fires. They're just not telling anyone about the fires. There's these huge fires on the South Carolina line, North Carolina, South Carolina line. And those are getting national attention. So, of course, the local outlets that are owned by national corporations, their algorithms or whatever, they move that coverage to the front. And so if you're local and you're like, is my house going to burn down? And you get on the Asheville Citizen Times website, it's showing you a fire 3 counties away. Meanwhile, there's like 3 active fires here in Buncombe County, and one of them was really close and scary. And there's new ones popping up today, and I'm trying to keep an eye on it, but how? You basically got to go to the Facebook pages of the local fire departments. And I got really mad, and I made a post. I put a post on the Asheville subreddit, and You know what? I'll link it. You can go read it, and then links to my Patreon where I made a public, no paywall, public post about how media just fails us. But out here in the woods, it's harder to be angry. You know, it's so you just end up kind of being morose, and it's easier just to not think about it, just to think, I'm in the woods and I don't need to worry about it. And then the woods start burning down, and you do need to worry about it. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching and for being concerned about me and my safety, and I appreciate you following along all these years through 2 disasters? More than that? Thank you. Keep the ends out for the ties that bind.